thank you for coming this afternoon at 5 o'clock for our Board of Directors agenda meeting. This is the opportunity we have to set the agenda for our upcoming meeting on February 6th. Following this meeting, if we get done, we'll take a little break, and then at 6 o'clock we'll be back to deal with the rescheduled meeting from January 16th, which is when we normally hold a meeting. Because of the weather, the inclement weather at the time, that meeting was canceled and rescheduled till 6 o'clock this evening. So with that said, if you would look at the consent agenda items on your January 30th agenda document, and we've got consent agenda items 1 through 8. Are there any questions about items 1 through 8? Yes, Director Wright, you're recognized, please.
What is Resolution 5 about? I'm not familiar with that Core Cal client access. What's that?
We call on Mr. Walker to come forward.
Good evening. The reason that's on the agenda, we entered into a 3-year agreement with Microsoft. So this is the payment for the 2nd year. So this is for our Exchange server, our SQL, our VDI machine, remote desktop, our enterprise, and our SharePoint. So all the core products that we need for our city's network, this is a renewal of it, our 2nd payment that we entered into an agreement.
Oh, so this is all the computer, the IT?
Yes.
Licenses?
Yes.
Only thing I understood was, I only understood one word out of all of that. So, I'm not that savvy with computer. I know basic stuff, but, okay, I understood one thing. So these are licenses that we gotta have to be able to continue. You don't need to hear what I'm saying. You hear me. Anyway, I'm cool. I got you.
You good?
I
Okay.
got you.
Any other questions about item number 5?
Yeah.
No, thank you very much.
All right.
Director Adcock, you're recognized, please.
Mr. Moore, could we have some information on item 8, please, of the mayor, whichever one?
The CAW board is actually interviewing 3 individuals this week, and by the time the board meets next Tuesday, they will send over their recommendation for appointment for the board to ratify.
Okay.
This is one
Director
of the-
Adcock, that'll give us an opportunity to review who they recommend. So if there is some concern about that issue that is brought to my attention, we'll decide on whether we're going to vote on it on the 6th or not.
Do we have, what is our options if we don't vote on them?
Both, as I understand the way the law reads, both cities have to agree to the appointment. This is a Little Rock appointment, so usually, although it's not contained in the legislation, usually the city that does not have the residential appointment usually acquiesces to the city from which the appointment is made.
Okay. And we
Although that's not, I mean, in other words, we could ratify and say yes, and North Little Rock could say no, and then the person would not be ratified, vice versa as well.
So it just takes one no?
I think it takes. Well, you can't ratify. You've got to have both people ratifying it in order for the appointment to occur.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure of that.
I would respectfully disagree, Mayor, because in terms of a rate increase from,
Well, we can check on it. We'll check on
CAW
it.
has some
Mr.
pretty.
Carpenter, would you check the statute and refresh our memories on that?
CAW's agreement is very unique in that I know where a rate increase is concerned, if the CAW board votes a rate increase, it takes both us and North Little Rock to say no for it not to go into effect.
Well, that's
Which
probably
is a
true
very
on rate
unique
increases, but I don't know if
situation.
that's true on appointments. But we'll find out.
All right,
We'll make sure.
Thank you.
My recollection may be faulty, but maybe not. We'll see. Thank you. Okay, if there's nothing else on the consent agenda, let's go ahead and look at the planning and development items 9 through 16. Director Wright, you're recognized, please.
Item number 11, I'm sorry.
Item number 11.
You'd like a presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask Mr. Collins to come forward.
Well, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board, Director Wright,
Yes.
what this is this is located at 4016 Stannis Road. And what they're requesting is,
Yeah.
right now, it's currently zone plan development office and R3. Scott, if you could bring up the sketch plan for that item. What they're looking to do is, there's two properties or two entities involved in this. One is the sorority that is just to the west building, and the other one is the building is that you see right there in the yellow at the bottom of the page. What they did was right now they currently share parking between the two. One is primarily, the office is primarily during the day, and then the sorority is at night and on the weekends. And if you look at that property that is just right north of that larger yellow building, that little bitty sliver, that used to be a residential lot. And they purchased that lot, and they looked to put in additional parking for use for both of the entities again. So they're redoing the parking lot between them and the sorority building, and they're adding this parking, and they're reconfiguring some of the striping in the islands to get additional parking, and still going to use that agreement with them for cross-parking access.
Okay. That's what I thought it was.
Yes.
That's what I thought it was, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't, nothing else had been added to that.
No.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
I'm in support of that.
Okay, Director Wyrick, you're next, please.
I'd like a report on item 13. It looks like the Mosaic Church is trying to do something on that corner. I'd like to know a little bit about it.
Mr. Collins?
Okay, well, the Mosaic Church, what they're looking at is seasonal carnival for that. They currently, it has been used a couple times in the past for temporary, for that carnival in the parking lot. And what the city in the past told them is like, we'll let you do it this last time, but if you look to do it again, you need to come before us. And that's where you're here to get approval to allow that use. And so what they're doing is they're looking to do this for twice a year for 2 10-day periods, for twice a year for this carnival that they've hosted now. I think this will be the third year that they would have done it. And there's ample parking. They're going to eat up probably about 200 parking spaces for this area and about a 500 parking stall area in front of it.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of space there. So do
Yeah.
you know when they'll do it? What time of the year?
Well, I've got it wrote down.
I was looking for that, but I didn't see it. I saw setup time 2 to 3. Oh, that's the setup time. It'd be up for 10 days.
They
twice
just put in there
annually.
one time in the spring and one time in the fall. They didn't specify specific dates or specific weeks to do that.
Okay.
So in general, spring or the fall.
And the planning commission approved it. Was there anybody that was in opposition to it?
Nobody spoke. There was no registered objectors.
Okay, I didn't see anything. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Director Adcock, you're next, please.
Mr. Collins, if I'm not mistaken, last year they had it about the same time that we had the livestock showgrounds. And so their application does not have a time frame of when they will have it?
No, it's just in general, what we got in there is just they have the typical carnival hours that they're gonna have, but not a time frame of specific days.
Okay.
They put in there for the hours are from noon to 10 PM, that they're looking to, have this. And they're gonna set up, takes 2 or 3 days to set up, and then, the rest of the 10 days for the carnival.
So it's 10 days each time?
It's 10 days each time. Carnival run for 10 days, 2 times yearly.
Okay, is there 2 days in the front and the back to put up and take down, or?
It says 2 to 3 days to set up, and then the carnival is gonna run for 10 days.
Did we contact the other businesses in that shopping center,
Yes.
and they all was okay with it?
There was we did receive a call from Murray's Dinner Playhouse, just inquiring about would traffic and congestion and what would happen if that come in, and we noted that the times, and their statement was that if it was gonna be like a once a month type thing, that's a different story, but twice a year, they was fine with the carnival. So that was their statement.
And all the other businesses okay with it?
We haven't heard anything in opposition from them. We haven't received any other letters of support, or opposition, other than Murray's Dinner Playhouse calling in.
Okay, thank you.
Director Wright, you're next, please.
Thank you. Jamie, did I understand you to say that they have held this carnival before? This is the same carnival that's across the street from the apartments? Okay, so this has been done for many years. So this is not anything new.
No, it's not new. We like I said, we told them that if they wanted to continue it, that they would need to come before the board
Okay.
and get an approval.
But
to
it
do
was
that.
going on before Mosaic even bought that. I've seen it before they purchased it. Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, if there are no other questions on the ordinances, then we have a public hearing that's also scheduled, item 17. And then, Mr. Moore, one of the documents that you gave us is this January 19th letter from the Little Rock Water Reclamation Authority, our sanitary sewer committee. And in the letter, they indicate they would like to discuss moving forward with this bond issue and have a discussion at our agenda meeting on January 30th. I don't see anybody here.
The resolution is item 6.
Oh, okay. That was the issue?
Mhm.
Okay, I saw Shep Russell was here, but I guess he felt that, okay. Okay, I just wanted to note
Right.
that in it. I didn't know whether they were going to speak and,
Now, this is just to set the date next week.
yeah,
Okay.
right. Okay, Director Adcock.
Mr. Moore, I'd like to have a report on 16. It says it's going to be a event center.
Yeah, as Mr. Collins comes forward, this is a new, well, I don't know how new it is, but it's there on Roosevelt, and they have been periodically using it as mainly for banquets and dinners, and then we started getting some interest in some other type of activities, and we said, at that point, you need to come forward and make application. So, Jamie?
105 East Roosevelt, is that there by the health clinic?
It's just west of it.
Yeah, you bring up site plan, now this is for the Arkansas Enterprises for the Developmentally Disabled, and they had the building built, and it's that southernmost building is what we're talking about, right there. Not where the leader goes to, but it's the building just south of it, and Bruce is correct in saying it is, they were using it and renting it out as an event space, and then it was brought to our attention that was happening, and so we spoke with them, and, and asked them to comply and submit the stuff in to be permitted as an event center, so that's why it's for you, on this agenda.
And that's right across the street from St. John's?
It is.
It's, yeah, pointed to St.
yeah, right
John,
beside
it's
it. Yeah,
those
right
two
there, St.
buildings right
John's
there.
building right there.
Was there any objectors to it?
No registered objectors was at it. We sent out notifications, to within that 200 feet. We notified the Community Outreach Neighborhood Association and Meadowbrook Neighborhood Association.
You didn't hear from either one?
We haven't heard anything yet from either one.
Has
And
the-
what hours of operation?
They didn't really specify the hours of operation in there. That's going to be in the rental agreement. They did specify other types. Well, I'm sorry, here it is. It's 7 days per week, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and 8 a.m. to midnight on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay, is that on group items?
No, not the ordinances.
I'd like to have that held separate, please.
All right. Jamie, on that particular matter, has the fire marshal indicated how many individuals can be, the occupancy on that building?
They, when they originally built the building, it was a different occupancy use for that. So it is not listed on here. We need to find that out, and I'll get that information to you and have them look at it. There is a maximum occupancy for an event center they can have for that building, and then that's what will be set, for them if it gets approved, and it'll have to go through the fire marshal approval for that building use.
That's not done ahead of time?
Well, it is when it's built for the use that they built it for. It wasn't built for an event center. It was built for just a office or use space for that facility, but not to rent out for an event center.
And is it going to be both of those buildings?
No, just the southern building,
Just the what?
just the southern building. That is
And what's in
about
the northern
3,000
buil-
square
what's in-
feet.
What's in the northern building?
They're holding just offices in the northern building. It's not a rent-out space.
And are those offices for the Arkansas Enterprise for the Disabled?
That I don't know, Mayor. I'll have to check and find that out, exactly if if they have anybody in that one for it. But they not written that space out, my understanding.
Yeah, if you would, I'm just curious to know, since that building is immediately adjacent to it, whether it's all part of the same.
Yeah, it was 300 square feet for that one building, 3,000 square feet approximate lease space. And for what we think they could fit in there, and then once it's approved, we'll have the fire marshal look at it, as we think they could probably hold about 200 people in that building in an event, but that also depends on what the event is and the setup.
Can you also let us know how many other event centers are in this relative location or vicinity? When I say vicinity, I'm talking basically downtown area.
I can let you know the ones that we have permitted.
Okay. Director Hendricks, you're recognized, please.
Thank you. This building is in Ward 1 for the general public, in case you don't know it. And our church supports this building, and I hope nobody comes up here trying to oppose it. What? St. John Baptist Church, which I am a member. Bruce is a member. Everybody's a member. Okay, so don't mess with this thing.
Director Adcock, you're recognized, please.
Jamie, on an event center, what is the rules and regulations about alcohol?
Well, there's no alcohol sales there because then they have to get a permit to do so. And they have stipulated some of those requirements in there that they want to say that catering is the renter's responsibility. They're going to turn in for the alcohol is allowed in the association with the event, but no alcohol tickets for alcohol or wristbands or any of their products can be sold or exchanged for alcohol. So essentially, no sale of alcohol is allowed on the property. But if you have a wedding reception and you want to have alcohol at the reception or stuff like that, it's allowed to be brought in.
So they can bring liquor into this, but they cannot sell it there.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Director Hendricks, you're recognized.
Jamie, since the subject has come up about liquor, would they have to get permits and all that to do that?
Well, for the sales would go to ABC. For an event center for bringing in of the alcohol, the permit, one, lies with us to be zoned that they can do that. I mean,
Okay.
the board could request, or that no alcohol be brought into the premise for this event center, or they could say that they can be brought on, bring the alcohol on. So it's, one of that is to us. If it is alcohol on the premises as far as the ABC, that's a different type of, permit process through. I mean, Vice is notified.
I'll support that too. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes our agenda for February 6th. You've got a couple of other documents on your in front of you. That let me just mention those so we got a little extra time here. First of all, there's a letter from Congressman French Hill responding to my letter invitation to discuss the internet sales tax collection issue. And offering to meet with us and for us to try and figure out a convenient time. So if there are some times that are just totally out of the question, let me know. I know that the congressman generally is back here on the weekends and on Monday usually. So I think he normally has to be back on Monday night or early Tuesday morning. So I don't know how we're going to get this done, but it looks like it probably will have to be a special meeting. And I'd like to try and do it within the next 30 days. So if you've just got some real challenges on that, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just hope. I really want, obviously, since we're asking him to visit with us, I want to make sure we have a good showing of our board members there. Okay? Thank you. And certainly the time of the day, let me know if there's a time of the day that's better than another for you all as well. Director Hendricks, you're recognized.
I want to comment on this letter that you just talked about. Whatever time that you get for this meeting, I want to be there, okay?
Well,
So
we'll be
if
letting
it's midnight, you call me or whatever. Emails are good, but I don't want it to be said that we were contacted and this is all we had at the meeting. I want to be there, okay?
Well, we certainly want you there, and we'll give you the notice that we give everybody, of course, as we always do, Director
As a
Hendricks.
Republican, I'll be there.
Would you speak again in the microphone? Never mind. All right, very good, very good. The other document is one that I handed out to you that I sent a little email to you about a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, there's a lot of good research and information that goes on at the National League of Cities. There's going to be a meeting in March in Washington where we get to advocate on a variety of things, but they'll also have a meeting on some of these various advocacy groups. Infrastructure is going to be a real paramount issue as we look to try and fund some of the things that we would like to do in this city and how to leverage the money. So I really encourage people to really try to figure out if you can make it for that meeting. But in the context of that, serving on these committees is very, very good. And I can put people on there if you want to serve. So that's the list. And if you will just make a note on your name, if you want to serve on one of these committees, please let me know and I'll get you appointed. But I need to do it promptly. So I'd like to try and get those in the next 24 to 48 hours if you could. If you can do it now, that would be great. There will also be a meeting in the end of June here in Little Rock, so there'll be a real opportunity to participate as well when that occurs. So if you just put your name on there, I'll pull off your bio off of our websites and send that in with with the names, and then we'll make sure that you get the invitation and the information on it. I did attach as well the constituency groups. There are some constituency groups that also meet that some members of our board may be interested in as well. And then, of course, the City Solutions, which is a strong research arm, and the Institute on Youth Education and Families, as well as our Race, Equity, and Leadership Program, which I think is something that we're going to be pursuing to try and work with our city in a variety of ways also. So I wanted you to have that information too. Okay, if there's nothing else, then we can complete this agenda meeting, and we'll be back here at 6 o'clock. Thank you.